Okay, it's 6 p.m. So we'll call this special council meeting to order. First, I'd like to acknowledge that we're in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. And we have basically a one-item agenda. So I look for approval of the agenda for tonight's. Oh, before we get going, I'll mention that Councilor Havison has declared from a conflict of interest. Yes. But that conflict kind of left my head there. Conflict of interest. So he will not be here tonight. And look for approval of the agenda for tonight. Moved by Councilor Sanford, seconded by Councilor Ernst. All in favor? Opposed? Yeah, I voted in favor. Yeah. Motion carried. So one item on the business on the agenda, it's new business, and it's to call a special election. So first, maybe I'll bring it over to Mr. Doyle. He can get us started.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. At this point, I will turn it over to the Municipal Clerk, Kayla Byrne, to run through the report and any questions may come of council. Thank you.
So we're here today for the special, to set the date for the special election. So as you all know, Matt Risser officially resigned as the mayor of Lunenburg on May 9th, 2023. As the Municipal Elections Act states, council must set a date for the special election within 4 weeks of that vacancy, which is why we're here today to adhere to that timeline. Once the date has been set at today's election, we have 11 weeks to set the election. So staff are proposing on August 12th, which is a Saturday. Elections must be held on a Saturday as per the Municipal Elections Act. We've decided that a paperless election will be the best route for us, meaning people can only vote via the internet or on telephone. This is the same process we had in 2020, and it went very well for us. And we actually saw an increase in voter turnout over the last 2 municipal elections. And as for a reference, the town of Mahone Bay recently used the same alternate voting system in their special election just last November, and they said it went really well and saw a high voter increase. As you'll see in the report, this election is being called to fill the mayor's vacancy. However, there could be a vacancy created by a councillor running for mayor. So as per the Municipal Elections Act, if a current councillor decides to file their nomination papers for the mayor's position, then they must vacate their councillor seat. So should this happen, then the special election will be held to fill both the mayor's vacancies and the councillor's vacancy. We can hold this special election for both vacancies. But that being said, if a councillor were to put in their nomination papers for mayor, they would completely vacate their councillor seat, which means if they were the unsuccessful candidate, they could not come back into their councillor seat. And I think that's the gist of it. If there are any questions. We do have some recommendations there, I suppose. To run an election, we need a returning officer. We are proposing that the municipal clerk, myself, be appointed as the returning officer to conduct all regular and special elections for the town of Lunenburg. This is something that only has to be done once, and we don't have to bring this back for 2024 for a returning officer. We're also recommending that Kelly Jardine, who is our executive assistant here at the town, be our assistant returning officer to help out with any returning officer duties. And that the election be set for Saturday, August 12th, and that we set the revision period for the list of electors for June 7th to June 21, 2023.
Thank you, Kayla. I think Councilor Pearls had a question.
Thank you. Through the chair, Kayla, just have a quick question in regards to people that don't have a computer or a cell phone. How are they able to vote?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the alternative voting system, we start advanced voting a whole week beforehand. So advanced voting will start on August 3rd, and people can come in at any time once that starts into town hall during business hours, and we can help them. We'll have a computer set up and staff will be there to walk them through the process. And then same for the actual election day on the Saturday, town hall will be open, I believe from 8 a.m., maybe 7 a.m., right until 7 p.m. all day, and staff will be on hand so people can come in. And we had that for the 2020 election as well. And looking back at our records, not too many people utilized that option to come in, but it was there and we did have a couple of folks use it.
Through the chair, just curious as to how PIN numbers are awarded to people. Like who gets a PIN number to vote?
So that is through our list of electors. So we will go through the revision period. So it's a 3-week period where people can call into staff and check to see if they're on the list of electors. And if they're not, they can be added to the list of electors. And once we have that finalized list, which will be done by July 5th, that is what will base us to send out the mail and personalized PIN. So everyone on our list of electors will receive that in the mail. Now, that doesn't mean that if you didn't receive it in the mail or you didn't get on the list of electors, it doesn't mean you can't vote. People can always come in person and we can get them signed up if they missed that revision period.
So just to follow up to that, to be on the list of electors, is it that you own property in the town? Like how is that list of electors created?
Yeah, so you are a resident of the town, meaning you live here. There is provisions in the Municipal Elections Act that says seasonal residents are not qualified to vote. And they specifically define a seasonal resident as someone who lives here from typically May until October, unless you don't have another dwelling place. So it couldn't be that if you had a vacation home here that wasn't your primary dwelling, you wouldn't be able to vote in it. You're not a qualified elector.
Councillor.
I would like to move the first and second motions and move the third just so that we can discuss it a bit further, if that is okay. I just want to do this separately. I want to move the first and second motion first and get those done with, because I think that those ones are fairly easy, and then just move, but not initially. Yeah, not second, the third one.
Okay, so we'll
Does that
have-
make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
moving the first and second motion. So the first motion is that we appoint Kayla as a returning officer. And the second motion is that we appoint Kelly Jardine as the assistant returning.
Yes.
Okay, so that motion, those two motions are on the floor. We have a seconder for the motion. Council Bertels seconded. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried.
Right. So now I would like to move the third motion and then discuss it.
So we have a mover for the have the election as August 12th. So we have a seconder for that motion, seconded by Councilor Ernst. And obviously we have some discussion on this motion. Okay, go ahead.
All right, through the chair. Just thinking about that particular weekend. So August 10th to 13th this year is the Folk Harbor Festival. It is one of the busiest weekends that we have in town. I'm just wondering if there has been any discussion around an alternate date and what everybody thinks about just how busy it will be and how preoccupied people might be during that time frame. I just would like to discuss that.
So through the chair. So we were looking at various dates throughout the summer, and unfortunately just the timeline of the summer is not the best time for dates. So you're looking at the long weekend in August and different things happening throughout the summer. So this date was chosen specifically to allow us to meet our requirements as per the Municipal Election Act of adhering to that 11 weeks that we need to set, also trying to miss long weekends and allow us to fulfill our advertising requirements that we have to do. And sometimes we run into a short time window with that because we advertise our required advertisements through a weekly newspaper. However, with the alternative voting starts on August 3rd. So eligible voters have the opportunity starting on August 3rd to cast their vote at any time, any day, up until August 12th. So if you're a shift worker and you're up at 3 a.m, you can cast it. If you're out on a boat and you have access to Wi-Fi and phone, you can cast your vote. So the actual August 12th, well, that's our election day. There are so many more opportunities to vote up until that day.
And technically there won't be a physical location to vote
So town hall will be set up. So during the advanced period, which starts on August 3rd, folks who either don't have access or don't feel comfortable using the alternative voting can come into town hall, and we'll be set up with a computer, and we can walk them through the process of how to vote. So that during the advanced period will be open town hall, regular business hours. And then on election day, it'll be open the full day. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but either 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. that Saturday, right till 7 p.m.
Right.
People can show up at town hall for the help.
Perfect. Thank you.
And that timeline on Saturday would like be a typical poll when the polls would open and close, right?
Yeah, that's the typical polling
Yeah.
period time.
Any further discussion on the motion? Are you ready for the question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. And we have one final motion. I suspect that's connected, was almost connected to the next one. So we look for a mover and seconder in that. So moved by Council Sanford, seconded by Councilor Duggan. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor? Opposed? And motion's carried there. So no further business we need to talk about. We're all set. Okay, Kyla, that's your, we have an election. Yeah, okay. All right, we're adjourned.